All right, folks, so today we're going to tie the CK Nymph. We're going to tie this on a jig hook, and I've substituted a few materials. Traditionally, this fly was tied with wood duck feathers for a tail, or mallard flank dyed wood duck. Both materials have been scarce and hard to supply lately. So we've tied this one with just regular hackle barbs, for a tail, and the body is Aunt Lydia's sparkle yarn wrapped with a trimmed hackle. And so very, very simple pattern, easy to tie. We love it on a jig hook, and we just colored it up here to give it a two-tone effect, but we will go ahead and get started here. You can use any size, nymph hook. We've been selling these flies for close to 20 years, and the popular sizes for sure are the 12s, 14s, and 16s. Just use some Vivas thread. You can use any regular tying thread that you like. I'll lay a base down back towards the bend. Come back up here. Get my bead set. You can put, obviously, if you want to add some weight, you can. Put a little dam of thread there, keep my bead in place. Again, the tail feathers here, you can do anything for these nymph tails. This one in yellow would be a good little stonefly pattern. You can make them thick and bushy or sparse. We'll go pretty sparse and, about half the length of that hook shank. Tie it in up here, and if you kind of hold the material up, I'll lay right flat on top of the hook. Wind it a second. There you go. I'm going to add some Aunt Lydia's sparkle yarn, some monofill to hold the trimmed hackle down. A lot of times when I do these CK nymphs, I'll go through and I'll actually trim that hackle down beforehand. Makes things a little bit easier when you're wrapping them forward. It's hard to sometimes trim the bulk of those feathers once you're done. I'll tie my hackle in here and lay it down and out of the way. Same with that monofill. That thin monofilament line is great, just holds the hackle down, keeps it from unwinding. Can take a little bit more abuse too when you hook fish. Clean up the end of this sparkle yarn. Wind it back. It's a great, that sparkle yarn comes in a great color too. That insect or caddis green is absolutely killer, especially with a jig hook and a black bead. Really looks like those caddis crawling around, caddis worms. Devastating in black as well. One of my go-to brook trout flies, CK Nymph in black. You can wind this sparkle yarn forward, kind of taper the body a little bit, get it up front. This is a pretty thick material, so if you're tying something up against the eye of a hook, it can crowd the eye because it does not compress very well when you're tying it in. So there's my body. Some people will go through and, with the dubbing brush and really make it buggy, but it's going to ultimately lay down a little bit once we get this hackle wound forward. And space it out about 1/8 of an inch, kind of as you progress forward. Get up to the head, and I'll sometimes do a second or even a third wrap. You can just kind of eyeball it and see how it looks to you. Kind of tie that hackle off there. Take my thread all the way up, and I've got this monofill that I'll come in and wrap in reverse. You can kind of wiggle around as you go, or you can use your rotary function, and if you take your monofill and just wiggle it left and right, it will not bind down too many of those hackle fibers. Come around to the front, wind that, lash that down, get rid of that mono, and then tie her off and you're done. Super simple, super effective fly. Come in and clean up some of those longer fibers on the sparkle yarn. If you want, again, you can color these up. I like to hit it with a little bit of brown on the side that's going to ride up ultimately. Find my brown marker here. So give it a little hit of brown there. Give it a nice little two-tone gradient, and then you can come in, sometimes like to come in and put another little black spot up there on the top, and there you go. You got your CK Nymph. Have fun with a bunch of different colors.